This Korean drama is about an entitled judge named Shim Eun-sok, who is the judge of juvenile justice with a personality who hates the juvenile offenders. After she gets assigned to a local juvenile court, she tries to balance her aversion to minor offenders with firm beliefs on justice and punishment. In the first scene of the drama, people were busy celebrating New Year and Christmas. They were all happy and enjoying the celebrations. Among them, an unknown young girl came out of a pharmacy, looking very afraid and having a cigarette. A young boy named Beck was walking through the streets and roads. He was a 13-year-old boy, full of blood and going somewhere. After some time, he reached the police station. A police officer came to him and asked for blood. He told the police officer that he had killed someone with an axe, and the dead body was on the top of the building 101. The police arrested him, went to the building, and found the dead body. Beck had killed Yoon Ji-hoo, an 8-year-old boy. There's a petition to abolish the Juvenile Act and bring murderers to justice. Beck lives in the same apartment complex as the murder victim, and he cannot be held accountable for his crimes as he is under 14. Now the scene shifts to an office where every worker is busy with their own work. Judge Shim enters her office, where a girl worker named Woo Soo-mi welcomes her and shows her the office. She tells Shim that she will be sharing her office with another male judge named Cha Tae-ju. Shim-eun discusses this case with Cha Tae-ju and a senior judge named Mr. Kong. They come to know that Ji-hoo went to borrow a phone from Beck to call his mother. Beck told Ji-hoo that he needed to go inside to charge his phone. Inside the room, he killed Ji-hoo, cut him up with a hatchet, and disposed of the body. He dumped the internal organs and the rest of the body in a compost bin, so the family was unable to recover the body for the funeral. The senior judge wants to close this case as soon as possible, because he's going to take part in a coming election and this case will disturb his position. However, Shim-eun wants to clear all things, and Mr. Cha Tae-ju also has sympathy with Beck, but she wants to punish Beck. Yoon Ji-hoo's mother came to meet with Shim and gave Shim her child's related things, like his photo, his favorite food, his toys, etc. Now Shim always used to keep Yoon Ji-hoo's photo in front of her. When Shim and Cha Tae-ju were busy, a worker informed Shim of a little tradition. The children who have just been released meet with the judge and staff, and they all go to a restaurant somewhere to catch up with them. So they all went to a restaurant where Shim met with all the criminals' children and noticed them. Now the case is going on, and Beck claims that he is suffering from schizophrenia. However, Shim rejected his claim, as patients with schizophrenia cannot concentrate on anything, so how could they murder anyone? Shim also watched the CCTV footage and noticed a girl involved in the murder. Shim searched for the girl involved in the murder through her uniform and discovered that she could meet her at an internet cafe. The girl's name is Han Ya-eun, and after a long struggle, Shim arrested her. Cha Tae-ju is in a great hurry. He told his colleague, "Please bring all the files to the interrogation room now, as Han Ya-eun is being interrogated." Han Ya-eun's parents are abroad, so a law firm named Jobo acts as her guardian on their behalf. A lady lawyer named Miss Ha came to the court and had an argument with Judge Shim. Shim gave a paper to Han Ya-eun and asked her to sign it. She signed it. During the investigation, Shim proved that Han Ya-eun is in contact with Beck. Shim showed her CCTV footage, and Ha was unable to say anything. After the investigation, the time was over. Ji-hoo's mother is in the worst condition. She's still crying and holding her son's toys. Now Mr. Kong comes to know about Han Ya-eun. He's in great anger and called Cha into his office and started throwing papers at him. Soon, Shim entered the office and said, "Such children are just some juvenile delinquents. It is our duty to realize such children of their crime." In her office, Shim comes to know about Han Ya-eun's social media accounts. Cha Tae-ju came to meet Beck's mother and asked her, by showing Han Ya-eun's photo, "Do you know that girl?" Because Beck was with that girl at the scene of the murder. We need Beck's confession. Beck needs his attorney. Lawyer Ha used dirty tricks to ruin Shim's reputation. Shim went to her office and asked her why she did this. Shim told her that, "You lost to me, then you will lose again. You should be on time in court. Don't be even a minute late." Shim has a lot of pressure from Mr. Kong. He wants to close this case, but at the same time, Beck agreed to confess in court. Now, all people are interested in this case. The case is now in court. All three judges are present: Shim, Cha, and Kong. Beck and Han, with their lawyers, are also there. Ji-hoo's parents are also present, as well as Baek's mother. All evidence is against Han Ya-eun. A doctor is also present, and he proved that Han Ya-eun had a mental disorder and she cannot control her anger. Actually, Han Ya-eun's lawyer wants to prove that the whole thing was an accident. During the hearing of this case, Shim showed a cell phone charger to Baek and asked him to tell the whole story. Baek told the whole story of how Han killed Ji-hoo with a charger cable and removed all of her fingerprints and put his on it. After that, Han chopped the kid with an axe and danced over the body while looking at him bleeding. After hearing this, Ji-hoo's mother started crying. She was in great pain and left the courtroom. After some time, she came back, and Kong asked her to say something. She requested the judges to punish them severely for their crimes, so something like this won't happen again. The court reached the decision that Han Ya-eun will serve 20 years in prison, and Baek will receive probation level 10. In the third episode, Mr. Kong faced press pressure regarding the court's decision on the Yunhwa child murder case. A young girl was walking in the rain in bad condition. Shim received a call and came to know that Baek Sang-woo's mother refused to appeal. Then, a girl named Yuri entered her office and asked about Judge Cha. After this, she fainted and fell down, and they shifted her to the hospital. Here, the doctor called Inspector Ko Gong-shik as it was an assault case. In such cases, victims refused to report. Yuri's parents divorced when she was 12, and she was raised by her grandparents. But now, they are too old to take care of her, and she has no one to check on her. She was in the juvenile intake center, but after her release, she's still on probation. Shim was in the hospital with Yuri. When she woke up, Shim asked what happened, but Yuri remained quiet and told her nothing. Judge Cha's mother came to his office to meet him. He has a strong relation with his mother. His mother also brought a lot of food for him. He offered food to Shim, but she refused to accept it. Shim went to a salon where Yuri works and asked about her behavior. Here, a worker told her that some strange man came to see Yuri at the salon. Whenever she missed work, it was because of him. Shim went to the hospital to see Yuri, and here she met her grandmother. Mr. Kong had dinner with Om Joon-ji. He told him that the by-election would be held in October, and he is the perfect candidate for the political party. Yuri's grandfather is in the hospital, and Shim goes to see him. Here, she met with the caretaker of her grandfather, who told Shim about Yuri's father. When he comes, he makes a scene every time, and always asks for money from his parents. Here, Shim received a call from Inspector Ko Gong, who told her that Yuri is missing, and her father is in the police station. He wants to report Yuri missing. Shim learned that Yuri was a victim of domestic violence, with her father as the assailant. She informed Cha of this fact, but Yuri refused to file a report, leaving Shim unable to take action. However, Yuri eventually disappeared from the hospital and went to her friend So-hwae's place, where she was beaten by So-hwae and her gang for money. Meanwhile, Shim was busy searching for Yuri when Cha called to inform her that Yuri was in a convalescent hospital. Cha asked Yuri why she didn't want to report the violence, to which she replied that she was afraid and had no one to protect her. Shim then called the police to arrest Yuri for her involvement in the gang. Cha had sympathy for Yuri, but Shim reminded him of his soft past, as he had been a victim of violence himself in the past. In the courtroom, Yuri was with her father, So-won-shik, and Shim asked him why he beat his daughter. He replied that he was simply parenting his child in his own way and teaching her discipline. However, Shim showed him the wounds of Yuri through a slideshow and asked if that was a way to teach discipline. Shim then proved her father's violence through a voice recording where her father beat her with the help of Inspector Ko Gong-shik. Yuri's grandmother was also present in court, and she took responsibility for her son's behavior, acknowledging that she had failed to raise him properly. So-won-shik then began to beat his mother, and the people present tried to stop him. Shim is in the courtroom and announces the court's decision. A child abuser is forbidden from approaching their family for a year. So-won-shik is divested of all parental rights and sentenced to 200 hours of community service and training. The trial is now closed, and Shim leaves the courtroom. In her office, she receives a message from Yuri stating, "I won't commit crimes anymore. I will work hard." Shim goes to a restaurant to meet Cha because he usually goes there to drink. He tells Shim his entire past story. His father was just like Yuri's father. He became a criminal because of his father's violence, but a judge helped him. When he passed the bar exams, they did not keep in touch. Mr. Kong is in the courtroom, and there is another case of a young girl named Hyun-ji with her father, who was using alcohol. Kong sends him to a vocational counseling center. Hyun-ji is involved in fraud cases, and Kong gives her 2 chances. So Kong decides to put Hyun-ji on probation number 4 for a year. When Kong leaves the courtroom, he changes his decision and decides to send her to the home for girls instead of the probation 6 facilities. This home is called Purinum and is run by Mrs. Oh Sun-ja. Mrs. Oh Sun-ja really takes care of the girls in her home. She has 2 daughters, Kim Ah-room and Ah-jin. Their parents got divorced. Kim Ah-room wants her mother to pay attention to her instead of the girls in Purinum, so she reports a false report to a police station against her mother. All 3 judges, Kong, Cha, and Shim, decide to visit Purinum. They spend all day there and find nothing wrong. Mrs. Oh Sun-ja is a nice lady who takes care of all the needs of the young girls, and even tolerates their bad behavior. Oh Sun-ja's daughter Kim Ah-room creates a great mess in the home, and she forced all the girls to leave the house. When Shim visits the home, she found all 8 girls are missing. Ah-jin told Shim that her mother is in the hospital due to thyroid problems. Cha and Ah-jin were in the hospital with Oh Sun-ja. The police are in search of those girls. A strange man comes to the gate of this house. He noticed Shim through the window. Cha is in the hospital with Lady Oh Sun-ja. After some time, she is discharged from the hospital, and when she reaches home, she finds a mess all around. Oh Sun-ja asks Kim Ah-room about this mess and also about the girls. Kim Ah-room behaves with very bad manners and says, "What does it matter if those bitches live or die?" Oh Sun-ja slaps her daughter. Shim tells Oh Sun-ja that she must find them. At that moment, Oh Sun-ja receives a call from Min Jae-young. Min Jae-young is one of those girls who left home. When all the girls were on their way, Min Jae-young fell down and couldn't keep walking. Young Na took all her money and left her. The police found her during patrolling. Shim, Cha, and Oh Sun-ja went to the hospital to see her. She told them that it was young Na. Min Jae-young told Shim that they were going to some train station. After this, Shim and Cha went to Kong to tell him about this. Kong was in great anger and said to Shim that she must fix this problem. Min Jae-young received a call from Yun-ji. Yun-ji went to Seoul with other girls. All the girls were forcing Yun-ji into prostitution starting tonight because they all want to earn money. Young Na is the leader of all the girls. They were in a motel near Seoul Station. Min Jae-young tells all the details to Shim and Oh Sun-ja. Shim called the probation office for help. Shim, with Cha, Oh Sun-ja, and Inspector Ko Gon-chik, checked all the motels. After a long struggle, they were able to find Yun-ji. They saved Yun-ji from prostitution and found all the girls. All the girls were investigated by the police, except Yun-ji, who was placed in a juvenile classification home. But Shim was unable to catch young Na. Young Na loves her mom and wants to be reunited. Shim and Oh Sun-ja go to find young Na. When they reach her, they find young Na in the worst condition and weeping. Young Na tells Oh Sun-ja that her own mom doesn't want to own her. Shim sends her to the juvenile classification home. Shim is in the courtroom and she decides to send the girls to 9th ruling. The parents of the girls are also here. Shim orders all legal guardians to receive guardian education. Today, the children have been punished, but the weight of the crime must be felt by the parents and guardians as well. Now the Purinum case is over. A newscaster is announcing news about Moon Kwang High School's involvement in the paper leak scandal, and the case has been forwarded to the Yeonhwa District Court. The corruption scandal involved a special student club named Descartes, and now this case has been shifted to the Juvenile Criminal Collegiate Division. Judge Kong's son, Shin-woo, is involved in this case as he was part of the Descartes group. After exams, he left the group, but this news has badly affected the upcoming assembly election. This news will ruin Kong's reputation. Shim's husband, Nam-gung Wan, comes to meet her at her home, but she ignores him and says, "I don't want to see you again." Nam-gung tells her that her doctor called him to ask why she has not gone to her counseling sessions. She replies, "I died 5 years ago." When she enters the house, she looks at 2 boxes. The boxes always remain closed, and other things are also remaining closed. When Kong reaches home, he notices police outside the building. He asks his wife and son about the police. His wife tells him that the only person who knows is Mr. Park, the teaching director. Kong replies, "I am the one in charge of that case." The court is going to handle a total of 21 students, 18 of them, 6 in each grade, and the other 3 who are on the wait list. Shim, Cha, and Kong are looking at this case together. Kong is the chief judge, and Shim will take 18 students, and the 3 students who are on the waiting list. Cha is supposed to handle them. Kong's behavior is very rude to Shinu. Kong said to Shinu, "If you want to end your life, you end your life by yourself." The next day, the Liberty Party nominated Kong as a panel member of Current Events and Issues and a judge at Yunhua District Court. Before his retirement as a judge, this paper leak scandal is his last case. The next morning, when the lights turned red, Shinu jumped on the road. Now he is in the hospital. When Kong comes to the hospital, his wife puts the blame on Kong because Kong puts a lot of pressure on Shinu to get high grades. Kong kept comparing him to his brother Jong-u and looked down on him. For this, Shinu joined the Descartes group just for the English exam. When Shim investigates parents and teachers, she comes to know that Moon Kwang School was the #1 high school, but with the passage of time, it's not even in the top 5. That's why the school gets involved in the Descartes group to get high grades. Only the students who have good grades would be able to go to SNU. Kong went to a cafe to meet director Park Hyun-chen from Moon Kwang High School. Kong told him, "You must deny all the charges in court." Mr. Ohm ordered Mr. Kong, "You must protect your son, and I will protect my party because we have to win the by-election." CO Baum informed Shim about the list of witnesses for the exam paper leak case. Mr. Kong made the list of witnesses and selected all defense, not prosecution witnesses. Shim asked about this. Now Shinu is much better and out of danger. Shim said to CO Baum, "Call Moon Kwang High School and tell them to send the list of all the enrolled students and their answer sheets." He brought the list and handed it over to Shim. After checking the list and answer sheets, she reached the point that the first person to suspect the leak is the teacher, Han Ji-won. While checking the paper, the teacher noticed that some students made the same mistakes because the question was not leaked. Only the answers were leaked. According to Kong's list, there are 21 students, but the actual number of students is 24. Shim is in search of these 3 missing students. After careful study, she comes to know 3 missing students, one of whom is Shinu. Shim went to the hospital where she told Kong, "Your son is also involved in the scandal." After learning this, Kong and his wife were very shocked. Now both Shim and Kong are in great conflict. Shim wants Kong to realize his mistake, but he is not ready to accept it, so the trial has been delayed. Shim is busy searching for proof against Shinu. After a long struggle, she succeeded in making Shinu confess. In court, she made a decision against this scandal, which is 120 hours of community service and long-term probation for 2 years. Now Kong also made a confession, and after this, the Liberty Party excluded Kong from the by-election, and he retired from the court. All staff here said goodbye to Kong, except Shim, because she is very busy in court. Mr. Kong was the judge who helped Cha in the past. Some young boys and girls were driving a car at a very high speed, and soon they had an accident. They hit a car and a motorcycle, and the man on the bike is Oh Gyu-song. He's in critical condition. He's a married man with a daughter. The other injured person is a driver of the SUV, and he is also serious. Shim is looking for data about young drivers, and one of the boys is Do-sok, the boy whom Shin and Cha met during dinner at the juvenile intake center. She gathered all the information about Do-sok. The next day, Shim called all the young kids to court, and Do-sok is underage, so he got the car through a fake ID. Oh Gyu-song's wife and her daughter came to the office to see Shim. She told Shim that her due date is coming up, so she wants her to try to end the trial quickly. Shim is with Do-sok's mother, who is in favor of her son. Non-Jun-hee is the new head judge. Now Do-sok went in a coma tonight. Parents of young kids are worried about their kids. Cha had a good time with Do-sok, so he's in shock. Cha had a special interest in this case. Do-sok is not on trial, and other children are summoned for the next trial. Shim orders Mr. Seo to check their social media accounts. Cha told Shim that when Do-sok rented the car, he was with a girl. This girl will be helpful to them. Seo called Shim and told her that these kids' social accounts have been deleted. Sok gave a USB stick to Shim and told her that a girl named Miju gave it to the bailiff at the courthouse. When they connected the USB to the computer, there was a video without audio. In this video, some strange boys beat Do Sok, and he let them beat him up. It's strange because Do Sok is a martial arts athlete. These kids have assaulted and threatened him for a long time. Shim called Miju to court and asked for the truth. She told her classmates invited her on an overnight beach trip, so she went. She was sleeping when they took her naked photos. After they blackmailed her with these photos, she asked for Do Sok's help to delete them, and he did so. That's why the boys beat him, and they forced him to rent a car. Shim called all boys and girls involved in this case to court with their guardians. Shim told them that this protection is over because Oh Gyu-song has passed away, and now tomorrow, this case will return to the prosecutor's office as a criminal case. Now this case is under Miss Na, who is not interested in this case, so she finally decided to send all boys and girls to probation, and this case is closed. The next morning when Sim enters the office, her staff told her about a gang rape case. When she checked the record of the young offender Wang In-jun, she fell on the ground due to shock. Shim is admitted to the hospital. After some time, she woke up. Cha is with Shim in the hospital. The doctor advised her to stay admitted for a few days, but Shim insists Cha go home. When they reach home, Shim fell asleep while Cha noticed her home entirely. Shim's staff has no information about her family. The next morning, Shim went to her office to check all the details of the gang rape case involving Kang Sun-ah, whose father is a truck driver who reported his missing daughter to the police station. The next day, a worker found Kang Sun-ah in very bad condition on a construction site and reported it to the police. Cha, Sim, and Na are discussing this case where the victims are under 19. The perpetrators met the victim chatting online and forced her to drink. Kang Sun-ah told the inspector that there were 3 boys, Hong In-jun, So Dong-gyun, and Woo Gyung-so, but the inspector told her that there were 4 boys, and she must remember. She was checked by doctors who found the DNA of Dong-gyun and Woo Gyung-soo. The problem is now Hwang In-jun. Hwang In-jun told the police that he was not with the guys who raped her. Cha is taking the Dong-gyun and Gyung-soo case, while Shim has to take the case of Hwang In-jun. Cha asked Shim about her family, but Shim told him that she just left her family. Cha went to meet his friend who knew something about Shim's background. He shared an office with Shim 5 years ago after he moved to Uijeongbu. She ended up getting a divorce after an accident, and her husband was a prosecutor. Cha, while checking the papers of Wang In-jun, comes to know that he dropped a brick from the rooftop as part of a school project. The victim suffered a blow to the skull, killing him instantly. At that time, Judge Na was in charge of this case. Miss Na deals with juvenile cases with speed due to workload. Kang Sun-ah's father sent Shim a voice recording. In this recording, a boy confesses in front of the father, and the father couldn't restrain his anger and assaulted the boy. Now, Kang Sun-ah's father is in police custody. Kang Sun-ah is now being taken care of by his sister who lives in Seoul. Shim's husband came to her and asked, "Why did you take the case of Wang In-jun?" She replied, "My son, Cha-eun-sok, was killed because of him, and now Wang In-jun will pay for what he did." Now Shim is in court, and she began the trial of Wang In-jun. He is also involved in buying alcohol. Shim asked him, "Did you avoid the crime scene?" He said yes, but he's a liar. Inspector Ko got a video from a private taxi dashcam that was parked near the construction site, and there was footage from the dashcam. This video is analyzed by the team of National Forensics. Shim decided Wang In-jun will be further investigated at a juvenile classification center. The next trial will take place in 3 weeks, and if he lies again, this case could be sent to the prosecution. Cha informed Shim about the Yeonhwa gang rape. What Sun-ah said could have been accurate. It could be 4 boys instead of 3. Dong-gyun, Gyung-soo, In-jun, and Baek Do-hyun. Suddenly, Shim's mother-in-law comes and slaps Shim and says, "Why are you ignoring my texts? I warned you that I would find you. Why do you keep meeting up with my son after divorce? He's finally starting his life again." At night, Shim's husband came to say sorry for what his mother did. Shim replied, "I never want to see you again." When Judge Na enters her office, she notices a paper on her table. It was delivered by court. On the paper is detail about Wang Yingjun's case. She checked the old record of Wang Yingjun, then she came to know that the victim was the son of Shim. Miss Na called Shim to her office and asked to reassign this case for that reason, because Shim wanted to punish Wang Yingjun. She replied, "No, I only want Wang Yingjun to realize how he ruined my life just for his fun. Why do you handle all cases with speed?" But Na did not take it seriously. Na said to Shim that you ignore the conflict of interest. You should face the disciplinary committee, and you were excluded from Yingjun's protection case and Yunhua gang rape case. Kong Sun Ah is here with her sister. She told Shim Wang Yingjun contacted her through chatting. He told her he's a student. She just went with him to forget her worries. Cha received a call from the hospital and became to know that Ha Rin is pregnant. Baek Do-hyun is responsible for getting her pregnant, as he belongs to the same runaway family as the other three. Ha Rin was part of the gang rape group, but when she did not receive money, she left them. She gathered information from different girls about Baek Do-hyun. One of the girls told her where Baek Do-hyun did all his crimes. They trap girls, make naked videos of them, then blackmail them with such videos. Shim reached this place when she was busy gathering proof against Baek Do-hyun. He came here and started beating Shim. He wants her to die, but at that moment, the police reached them. After this, Shim did not go to the hospital. Instead, she went to Na and asked who is in charge of Yingjun's case. "I have something to tell you regarding an aspect of the case." Na told her, "I am in charge. I will handle it according to law." Shim told her it is the duty of judge to get to the truth behind a case. Judge Na is in the courtroom. The trial began. There's heavy rain outside. The lawyer of Wang Yingjun denied all objections. She wants to prove that Wang Yingjun was not there during the rape, as he was not in the footage. Now it's the turn of Baek Do-hyun. Na told them Dong Gyun and Gyung Soo claimed that there were 4 culprits involved in this case. At that moment, Shim entered into the courtroom and sat on the back chairs. Judge Na says that the evidence that we are about to show now is from Baek Do-hyun's secret phone, which Wang Yingjun brought to the crime scene. There are a lot of videos that prove that Baek Do-hyun is the leader of this gang. This case is watched by Kong Sun Ah outside the court. Na asked her, "If you have any last words, speak now." She said, "Please let my life go back to normal." Now Na announces the result of this case. She said the 4 boys conspired together to rape the victim. This protection case is now closed. This case will be forwarded to the prosecutor's office, and if the prosecution files charges, a criminal case could be opened against them at that time. Judge Na apologizes to Shim. Now Shim is going to face the disciplinary committee. Ex-Judge Kong requests Miss Na to defend his junior Shim. She did her job as best she could. Na agreed to do so. Now Shim is in her house and opening the closed boxes. When she opened the first box, there are memories of her son Chan, his bag, toys, cap, shoes, clothes, and his photos. At the end, she burnt all his photos and other memories. She publishes a book about all her research and experiences and sent it to Kong. Now Shim is in court during the case of the young boy who killed an 8-year-old boy at the beginning. Now he has no change. He looks like the part of some gang. This is the end of this series. Please subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to get notified of new videos. And don't forget to like our videos. Thank you for watching.